I just spent over $10,000 trying to figure out how to make better secondary trades within this new NFT project. Do you wish that you made better secondary plays? Me too. So that's why I'm practicing. That's why I'm trying to get better, because I believe this skill is going to be needed when things get more mature, when more people come into the space. And to remain profitable, you have to stay ahead of other traders. So I'm going to take the knocks, I'm going to practice now, and I'm going to figure this out on my own while leveraging other resources, but using my experience as a previous trader, trading BTC, trading other markets. Here is one of the newest projects that I just got into, and an exploration of my thought process and how well I did. Was I profitable? Was I not? What did I end up pulling? Let's dive into that, and also stay tuned till the end. I'll reveal the NFTs and see what I got at the very end. So here's 3Landers. When you look at this could just be like any other project. The art is unique. It gives me Futurama, Simpsons vibes, and we don't have something similar to that, but people have been comparing it to something similar to the Doodles niche in like an area of NFTs. What I did initially, I missed mint. I fell asleep. I was so sad because I was watching 2 mints. It was like 2 a.m. There was a slow Dutch auction for this other project, and then I went to just lay down while things were just happening, and then I fell asleep. I missed the 3Landers project dropping, and I wish I could have minted this at first. So when I went into MVHQ, Metaverse HQ, one of the main alpha groups that I check and that I'm part of, it was hype. People believed in the project. People talked about the team and the art, and then they were talking about the commons. One of the things that I've learned inside this space is that if you want a project to hold post-reveal, the commons need to look good, or at least decent. They can't look really ugly. And if they look really ugly and they're so significantly different from the rares and the things at the top, people start to dump hard. They dump like crazy, and the floor tanks because people were expecting this nice sneak peek of these rares, and then they get this that disappointment and wanting to just get out of the project and not even hold it, not even think about it. They just dump right away. So one of the first things that I always look at are commons. Do I like the commons? That's very subjective because some projects have done extremely well where I didn't even like the art. But if this turns into an illiquid JPEG that I can't sell, at least let me like looking at the project when it's inside my Opensea account. So when I was going through the Discord, I saw that the commons were decent. They actually looked good. There was conflicting opinions within MVHQ, but I went with my gut, and I believe that the commons looked good enough, and then there were enough rares that it could justify me coming in on a secondary play. I went through the team. I don't like investing in teams that aren't doxed. The team here is semi-doxed with the plans to be completely doxed in the future. So that was a good thing. When I went into their Twitter, so they're about 45,000, one of the first things that I do is I look at the pin tweet. The pin tweet usually has the most engagement. I just do a calculation from likes to followers. Just a simple ratio. Likes to engagement ratio. 2364 divided by, let's just make it simple, 43,000, about 5%. 5% is not bad for engagement on a non-contest where you can win something, where there's an incentive to retweet and share type of post. So then when we look at these other ones, okay, that's nearly 1%. Average projects will be actually around 0.001 to 0.007, 0.006, around that region. Those are average projects, and the really bad projects will be below that. So you saw that this one had a little bit more, and I'm looking for engagement over 1%. 1% on regular posts is pretty good. So we're starting to see regular engagement of over 1%, which is really good for these types of projects. The 40,000 was a little bit of a concern because it's a little bit lower than I would have liked, but with the collection being at 10,000, you still need a significant amount of an audience that cares and that's engaged, that wants to be part of it to signal the demand. So with 43,000 give or take and 10,000 collection, that's 4x the collection. Not everybody's gonna be engaged on Twitter, but still, if the community that does get in likes it enough and there's enough people on the outside to hoister that demand, then I'll feel more comfortable. I would actually feel a lot more comfortable if this was 80k, 100k non-botted with the same type of engagement. I also look at the quality of their posts. Is it just retweeting? Are they actually making significant posts? Are they posting multiple times a day? Are they actually having a great lead up into the reveal? A few projects that did this well was Artifact with Clone X, and one of the things that they did, which I think 3Landers was smart to replicate, was showing the different legendaries, the DNA, and then showing the different types. What are the different rarities, the different DNA, the different types that could potentially be what other people are looking for that I could potentially flip for higher than a floor price? Because there's going to be legendaries that are going to be 20 to 100x potentially from floor price, or even more depending on how hype the project is, how many of those are in there, and then also how many different traits that will be above floor, because this is still gonna dip post reveal, but depending on how good the comments are and the community and how it was built and how hard it was to actually get into the community in the whitelist will determine how far it dips and how long it stays there, and then the demand afterwards. I found all of these different DNA types, legendaries, and I felt good that I had a higher chance of getting something that was not common, that was not on the floor, that would be able to be easily found. So say like a zombie, an ape, a different type of trait with the asymmetrical risk to reward, which just basically means I'm investing this much with the potential to get 30 ETH, 40 ETH at the very, very small percentage, but it's still there. And then I risk tanking the floor from 50% of where it was hovering around. So after doing this initial research, I also dove into the Discord, dove into the team, looked at their socials, looked at the artist. The artist did a great job of telling a story behind his art, getting people emotionally invested. And that's what you do in marketing. People get bonded to a project, to a brand, based on the stories that people tell. So that's what you want to see in the marketing of a brand or a project. So because I saw that, and because I saw the artist, and he was telling his story about how he didn't have too many toys, so he used writing as his escape, as his form of entertainment, as a way of keeping him happy. These were his friends. And the fact that he has so much art to show and sneak peeks was great as well. And then showing the process of how he created them. Content is what drives awareness within the space. And the more content that you can create, the more awareness that you can generate, the more word of mouth that gets around, because NFT market right now is all based on word of mouth. And one of the other things that I saw was that he had previous sales. One of his earlier projects was 3Land World. You can think of this kind of as a Genesis project. One of his earlier projects already had a floor price of 1.77. Having a previous successful project speaks a lot of volume to what could potentially happen in the future. It's not a guarantee. I like the fact that people who've been there, done that, and are able to replicate and learn from what they had before and apply it to their new project, but also show that they've been successful. Makes me more comfortable to get in on secondary, even though those aren't required to get in. You can still trade things that don't have any of this. They're just higher risk. If things go south, you'll be holding a less desirable project with a less desirable team or artist. The tool that I use now, Parsec, is not a free tool, but if you can find a profitable strategy, this can justify having to pay $99 a month just for the NFT version. So all of this screen here, you can customize it based on different elements. I'll go into like a full review in the future. Yeah, so if you're interested in Parsec, I have a referral link in below, so that's in the description. Check that out if that interests you. But the way that I'm using Parsec is the way that I'm using TradingView when I used to trade BTC. I'm looking at the RSI, which is just a strength indicator, just shows momentum over a certain period of time. Is it slowing down? Is it strong? Or is it overbought? Is it oversold? That just gives me ideas of how heated a market could be potentially, and then also a way to visualize this. This is not the only tool that I use. I use this in tandem with NFT nerds. So here, this is mainly used for me looking at different trades. This lets me know about holders, how the top holders are doing, and then I can click on the top holders and actually get a rough estimate of their portfolio value. One of the things that I'll do is I'll look through all of the top holders and then assess their portfolio value and see, are they experienced within the market or not? Are they great traders, investors, flippers, and then get a feel for the top holders? And are they smarter than me, and should they be people that I should be following? So here, the top person has 1.6 million in ETH and has an overall portfolio value of 1.91. So then I went through here, I was like, okay, I feel comfortable with holding these. People in MVHQ and other alpha groups, they are holding as well. So I'm gonna hold until reveal based on my knowledge, but knowing that it's still risky. I could have got all bottom tier 9,999 all ranks within there, and then lost potentially 50% post reveal, which we see happen a lot of the time around 7:30 p.m. So you saw there was a little bit of a dip. You can see the RSI is bottomed out. Usually within trading, you do not stay in the oversold region too long. These are on shorter time frames. You can see that I'm on the 15 minutes, which means that I'm potentially swing trading this, day trading, scalping this, very short-term time frame, because NFTs, most projects, unless they have high volume and have been around for months, are going to be within these shorter term timeframes, and until they establish themselves as a higher market cap desirable project. So when I was looking at this yesterday, I was around this region. You can see there's green dots with signals that there's a lot of people buying at this period. If you look at this, this looks like a support region around this region, around 0.4, and then based on what I've seen other people talking about, they were buying around the 1.5 regions in different chat groups and in different alpha groups that I saw people's entry points were. So I was like, okay, I was looking for an entry. I started to see that this was looks like it's going to be a support level. It's on the bottom side of this orange, which is the Bollinger Bands, which is just showing a lower level of the range. So then once I saw that it was outside this, there was green, so people were coming in. Also, the RSI was very oversold, and you can see in these different regions, that's where they bounce back up. This looks like a psychological support region where people were buying it up at and not letting it fall a little bit lower than this. So this was around where my entries were. I got in around 1.5, 1.45, and then 1.35. I wanted to average, wait a little bit. I've been monitoring for the whole day just to make sure that my entries and my trades are a lot better and that I don't get wrecked on secondary trades, which I have been. And I'm going to go over one of my biggest losses in the next video. I still felt scared because I'm still learning and trying to figure this out, but I was like, okay, I'll buy in at these points. There's other people who bought in at these points, and then I'm gonna wait till reveal. Leading into reveal, there's always the dump. So here it got to back up to 1.5, and then you can see all of these dots here. This is usually where the reveal is, and my guess is reveal was around here, and then you start to see some sales, and then there's the dump all the way down to 1.05, which is not as bad, but it's 0.5, not as bad. Paper hands will get out, but because I believed in the fundamentals enough to take on that risk, I decided to hold. And then so once it flushes out those paper hands, there was also rumors of potential collaborations with some brands. We have unconfirmed. do not buy or get into this project. This is an NFT trading recap. I forgot to mention this earlier. This is just a recap of my trades, and this is not an indicator of getting into the project of where it is right now. Please do your own research on the project when you see this video. Disclaimer. These begin to get bought up relatively quickly, and the biggest thing that we start to see as well is the high-end sales. You see significant sales. This is really bullish, that the revealed rares are selling for high. So that shows that there's demand and there's people who want to get into the project. And the fact that there's going to be an AMA to go over the roadmap and potentially, hopefully clear up some rumors and see if those are correct. Normally what I would do was I would sell one to be able to cover my costs, but to be honest, I traded into these. So because my approach is a little bit different, I'm going to hold this for a few days, but I'm going to monitor it like crazy. I'm going to wait till the AMA. I potentially will sell into the hype of the NFT, the AMA, or I will potentially hold seeing the price action of how 3Landers holds. Will it hold at these levels? Will it climb and then hold at a higher level? Will sales significantly slow down? Will listings slow down? What does the community do, and what happens on the AMA? The way that I used NFT Nerds was I set my maximum price and I monitored my maximum price during that 1.5 area, and then I bought in unrevealed and bought in through NFT Nerd, and seeing that this is potentially a decent secondary trade. We'll see. This, I might have to do an update of this being great, this being extremely bad, and what I learned from not selling early. As of right now, I feel good about this project and holding. If you've been watching this channel at all, you know that I rarely hold anything beyond reveal or even heading into reveal. But this time I wanted to change my strategy. I need to learn new ways of trading to stay ahead of everybody else, catch up to some of the best traders in here. This is the one that I bought for 1.5 basically. Minimum price for Polkadot is 1.59, less than 9 to 2 ETH. Next one was another DNA trait that's not common, that wasn't human. It's a 3Lander with a purple DNA type. And the reason why I'm looking at these compared to the other traits, even though there are some rare traits, is these are usually easier to flip and for people who are looking for rares to buy. Floor price is at 1.6 for the 3Lander, and for the 3Lander purple, 1.65, and then the floor until 2 again is less than 10. And this is the one that I paid 1.35. And then the last one, which is great as well, which is another great pull, which is a zombie DNA type, which is rare as well, with the combined with the human DNA type. So when we look at the zombies are already worth over 2 ETH, about 16 until 3 ETH. This could have easily gone the other way and was still high risk, but I was willing to take that risk for the chance of pulling higher DNA traits. The risk was these potentially go to 0.75, 50% dump. I didn't think it would dump more than 50% based on the team, the interaction, the communication, the marketing, the artwork, and the proven track record of the artist, and the fact that they're going to be doxing themselves in the community. Without these, a project could dump even more than 50-60% going into reveal. So those are always things to consider. And even with these, there are projects that have dumped because of the macro market. The macro market is bearish, but the sentiment around this project, what people were feeling about this project, there was people that I respected that believed in this project, and my gut was telling me that this was going to do well. I hope this gives you insight into developing your own trading strategy and what is working for me currently. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't subscribed yet to get more NFT content. As always, take care Talk soon, and I'll see you in the next video.